Finally, Maya sighed with relief. James looked at her, not being able to stop himself from chuckling at Maya. Maya looked at him, glaring at being laughed at. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. It just seemed so innocent the way you said that. James raised his hands to deny any desire to make fun of her. Grimacing, Maya grudgingly accepted James's explanation. It does feel nice to finally see one of the main roads again, James admitted as his eyes looked at the stone-paved road cutting through the open field. They had been traveling for several days, through the forest, not having stopped to take a break in order to reach the guild even just a bit sooner. The waking leaves were helpful with keeping themselves awake as they journeyed through the dense forest. Both their group and the high-level group were fortunate in not running into any monsters. After encountering the rock bears, both parties were still recovering. Even if they would have been able to fight off forest cats and other creatures, it would have only served to drain them of the needed stamina to get out and reach the main road. How are the two of you holding up? Mim asked James and Maya. Smiling at Mim's question, Maya answered, It was nice of your group to slow their pace to match us. James nodded in agreement. It wasn't necessary for Mim's group to be so accommodating to them. The longer that Mim and his group were in the forest, the longer they were in danger. As adventurers, James knew that the lives of the group were more important than others. This was even more the case since they weren't able to return after death. If they were to get fatally wounded, it would be the end of the road for the journey. It was how others in the simulation have to deal with the concept of death that made the environment feel more realistic. There were moments where James would question if they were in a simulation and not some other alien world, like in science fiction books he had heard about. What was even more interesting was how those without the ability to return wouldn't question such a thing. When James and the others would walk through the portal, people in the dining area of the guild would just casually glance at them before returning to their meals. There were a few comments directed at how they didn't need to worry about dying, but no one thought it was something to be jealous about. James could tell that people thought that experiencing death repeatedly was something bordering as unfortunate, not necessarily a blessing to desire. Turning to look at his group, James said, Nice to feel the sun again, huh? Adam nodded, grinning happily. It'll be nice to be back in the guild. After we accept our reward, I think a longer break is in order. Kate moved closer to Peter lovingly. She lay her head on his shoulder and said, Adam's right. We should enjoy our time while we have the chance. We never know if the rock bears will leave the forest and attack the city. Peter nodded, and he wrapped an arm around Kate's shoulders, bringing her closer to him. That sounds like a good idea. It'll also give me some time to explore the city and try to find equipment. I've already destroyed one of my daggers. James placed a hand on his cut-up leather vest, damaged by the forest cats. I also need to replace this thing. It was the first time in some time where it felt like they could just casually talk amongst themselves. After having spent several days trekking through the forest and staying alert, the relaxing moment was welcomed.